Hello, my dear students. Please subscribe our YouTube channel for more free video lectures and click on bell button for notifications and visit our website to purchase full course.
Yeah, in last session we have already discussed about string class and string object, how to create object and some of its methods we have seen. So you can explore rest of the methods from string class. We will start a new topic now, that is methods. Methods are nothing but functions. These are there in C++ also. We call them as functions, but in Java, or actually as per object-oriented programming, the name given for functions is methods. So functions are called as methods here. See, a method, what is the way of writing a method is, method will have a method name and it will take some input, some parameters as input. So it can take 0 or more parameters and it will return some result. It may return 0 or more values. So 0 or 1 value, exactly 1. Either it is not returning anything or return something. Now, what is the purpose of method? See, already we have seen in string class, like there were methods like concatenation, there was a method, substring, there was a method, to lowercase, there was a method. So the methods were there. By them we were able to perform some task on it. Like, okay, let me tell you the difference why it is called as method, why they were called as functions. See, the idea of a function is that instead of writing the complete code inside a single function, that is a main function, instead of writing everything here, like thousands of lines here, instead of that, we can break it into pieces and call them as functions. This performs some function and this performs some another function, means operation. Function is nothing but operation. Then this performs some another function. So from the main function, we can call fun1 or we can call fun2, so on. So that was the idea of a function. So the idea of function in modular programming or in procedural programming was to distribute the work of a main function among other functions so that we separate the complexity and also we reuse those functions many times. Not just one time, you can call the same function any number of times that you want. So the main purpose was to separate the complexity. So depending on the specific task, they were separated. But in object orientation, the idea is different here. Here we have classes. So classes will have two things. Anyway, we will learn about this. Just I am talking about why it is called as method. Class will contain two things, that is data and operations on that data. So the operations can be called as functions, but here we call them as methods. So it is nothing but these are the methods that are used for operating this class. You can say like this. Alright. So those functions are meant for that data and that too for that particular class only. That is the reason we are calling them as methods. So that's it. What is the method I told you? So that concept, that separating the logic and separating the complexity and reusing them, that doesn't apply on methods. Methods are related to the classes. All right. And in modular programming, you can say that we are separating the complexity and we are writing a reusable piece of function so that we can use it again and again. All right. But here methods are for operating the data of a class. They are related to the class. So in object-oriented programming, it's different. So directly, methods are meant for performing operations on data. So method can have a method name, like this is a name, and it can take 0 or more parameter, any number of parameter, and return type, it can return either nothing or exactly one value. If it's returning then it will return only one value, not more than one value. So let us write the example of method and use it. So you can note down the point that methods are just like functions, but they belong to classes. In object orientation, method functions are called as methods. Then this is the way of writing a method. Method name, parameter list, return type. See, I will not dictate sentence by sentence. I'll repeat the points so you take them. That way you can collect the points. In that way you can memorize also. I'll repeat the points. Maybe 10 times I repeat the points, but I will not dictate sentence by sentence. So again, I'm telling you, methods are just like functions. But in object-oriented programming, methods are the members of a class. They are meant for accessing the members of a class. And the methods will have this type of declaration, or this is the syntax for a method. They will have method name, parameter list, and return type. Parameter list, it can take 0 or more parameter. And return, it can return 0 or 1 value. Next, this is called as signature of a method or header of a method. Signature or method, header of a method, or heading of a method also. So signature or header of a method. In C language, C++, we used to call this type of thing as prototype of a function. Right, a prototype, but using the term prototype will give a different meaning here. So that's why we say signature of a method or header of a method. Next, see, in this one we can have two more things. That is, we can have throws keyword, and here we can have list of exceptions. List of exceptions, and here we can have some modifier, right? Modifiers. So more than one modifier and throws list of exceptions. We don't know about this, but this gives a complete signature of a method. So copy it again. Don't modify the first one, copy this one again. Complete signature of a method will have these things. Out of this is optional, and this is optional, and when this is 0, this is also optional. It can be 0 also, so this is also optional, and these things are mandatory. Brackets are mandatory. So take this one. Over. Now let us write an example of a method and use it in our program. Now, first program, class method test, and inside this I will write on a method public void display no parameters system.out.println hello. Now public static void main and string args, you know this, then from here I will call that method display. That's it. See, this is a definition or declaration and definition of a method, complete definition of a method or elaboration of a method, and that method is called here. So this is a method call. This is a method call, and this is elaboration or implementation of a method. Elaboration or implementation of method. But one thing is missing here. Okay, before that, I'll show you. This is void, not returning anything. Display, this is the name. And this parameter list, it's not taking anything. Then what it is doing? Just displaying hello. So when you call this one, hello will be displayed, right? Hello will be displayed. And this I made it as public. It was not necessary. I can leave it also, no problem. Without public also I can leave it. Now, how it works, let us see. You know that the entry point of a main method, entry point of a program is main method. So first of all, main method is called, then it will call display, the control goes here, then it will execute this one, and it will return back to this line and continue the rest of the lines if there are any lines. This is the working. All right. So again, I tell you, this is the name, this is the return type, there is no argument list. And public, this was optional, I just wrote it. Like here, this is also public, so I just wrote this public. So if without public also it works. Then how it executes? So when you make a call, it goes there and execute, and when it has finished, it will return back to the main function. So it will go there, execute, and come back. This is the important point. Even in the machine code, same thing happens. Right? Same thing happens in machine code. Two pieces code will be there. It will go there, execute, and return back. Now, one thing was missing. Just I will add it now. See, this is public static. Main is static. So static methods, main is also a method, right? So static methods can call only static methods. So this is not static. So I should make it as static. So this is the reason. I first explain you the reason, then I am writing it. So I don't need public, so I'll just remove public, and here I will say static. Whether I write public or not, it makes no difference. Then without public, what it is, we will see that. So this is static. Now you can call this method static directly. Static method, public static, this is static. So static can call that static method. If you want to write public, here also you can write public static void display. So this is optional. It's up to you how you want to copy this. I will write both, public and static void display. Take this one. So what are the things that you have to take? This is the name of a method, there is no argument list, and this is the return type, is nothing, void, and how it works. This is a method call, it goes there, execute, and come back, and this portion is called as implementation of a method or elaboration, and this is method call. Now I will write one method for finding the maximum of some numbers, which will take some parameters. So it will take two numbers and find the maximum of two numbers. So what should be the method name? I'll give the method name as max. How many numbers it should take? It should take two numbers, x and y. So these are integer type. Then whichever is greater, it should return that. So the return type should be integer. So see, this needs some practice. What should be the name? What should be the parameters? What should be the return type? This comes with practice. Okay. So if you write some programs by yourself, then this comes. What should be the name and all? You will get the idea. So return type, as it's going to return the maximum of these two, so the return type is also integer. So int is the return type. Now, as I said, I am going to call it from main method, then I must make this as static also. Then only I can call it. Then here I will write just one line, return if x is greater than y, then return x, otherwise return y. So return x, return y, depending on this condition. If they are equal, then y will be returned because both are same only. So y will be returned. Any one can be returned. So as per this code that we have written, as per this y will be returned. Now from main method, I will call that one. This is the end of the method. Then here I will have some variables, a assign 15 and b assign 5 and c, three variables I take. Now call this method max by passing a and b, then take the value in c. Then here I will say system.out.println c, maximum value is c. So first copy this one, then I'll explain you how it is working. Now let us see how this works. See, this main method is calling this one. So you know the entry point of a program is main method. So first of all, the main method runs. So when the main method is running, once it starts, the memory for all its variables a, b and c will be created, allocated. And a will have value 15 and b will have value 5. Then a call to max method is made. So once the call is made, the control goes here. Then here also it needs two variables. So x and y, the memory for these will be created. Right? So memory will be allocated for that x and y also. And when the call is being made, that memory is created and the value of a and b are copied in this x and y. So 15 goes into this one, 5 goes here. So what is going from here to there? The values are going from here to there. Values are going. All right. Then next, it will check whichever is greater and it will return. So when it returns, once it has finished, there is a single line here. Once it has finished, the value which is greater, that is 15, comes and falls into this C. So we are taking the return result of a method max inside this C. All right. So the return value is taken in C. Then after that, it will print this one. See, once it has returned, this method will go away. So the memory for these variables is also gone. So those variables were created when the method was called and variables were destroyed when the method has ended. All right. So this is how the parameters are passed. So I am showing you how the parameters are passed and how the value is returned and how we can take the value in some variable. And one more thing, Taking the value in a variable, is it mandatory? No, it's optional. If you don't want to take the value in any variable, you can avoid it, right? So here I want to take it, so I'm taking it. The passing of the parameter, is it optional? No, no. When you call max, it says I want two values, so you must send two values. Passing of parameters is mandatory, right? Can I pass just A without B? No, you must pass both the parameters, then only the method will be called. You are receiving that returned result in C or not, in some variable or not, that is optional. So this portion is optional. So here in our example, we are taking it and writing. Achha, is it possible that instead of taking in C, I will directly write system dot out dot println max A comma B? Yes, you can write this. So that return value come here and it gets given to SOP, that is system dot out dot println. So it will print that value. You can directly use like this also. So now what you have to copy here is that how the parameters are passed. How the parameters are passed. So one thing will learn here is that in this example, the values of the parameters are passed. The values of parameters are passed. So parameter passing. Parameter passing. Right? There are two methods of parameter passing in Java. One is pass by value. Second one is pass by reference. There are two methods of parameter passing in Java. But people say that, or some book says that, there is only one method of parameter passing, that is passed by value only. But I am showing you there are two methods, then I'll make it clear what does it mean. So then you give your own statement afterwards. So right now there are two parameter passing methods. So what I have explained you here, which method we have seen, what is passed from here, the values are passed. So we have discussed about parameter passing method, that is passed by value. All right. See, first I have given the explanation, then I gave you the name of a topic. This was the difference here. All right. So first I have explained you the working, and in that working we came across how it is working. So values means how the values are passing. So we came to know that this is call by value. So then further, next we will talk about call by reference. So first you take this one. So this working, along with the working, we also learn that the parameters are passed by value. So what you have to note down is there are two methods of parameter passing. First one is parameter passed by value. Second one is passed by reference. Okay, now two are there, one are there. We will discuss afterwards. Once we complete passed by reference. So copy that and copy this one, this portion once again, and show that the values of the parameters are passed. The values of the parameters are passed. All right. So in pass by value, the values of parameters are passed. Take this one. Now, next one. We have to learn about call by reference. For that, I'll explain with one example. So I will write one method that is static void does nothing wish, and it will take a string. It will take a string str, and what it does is system.out.println welcome Mr. Okay, or Miss plus str. It will give a message. Welcome, Mr. or Miss, whatever the string that you have passed. So come back to main method. In main method, I will have one string S as Raju. Now I will call that method wish. Is it returning anything? No, I don't have to assign it to anything. Then what is the parameter it's taking? String. So I will pass this string S. I will pass this S. That's all. This is a simple method. So it's doing nothing, just we have given some name. So it is giving a message, welcome Mr. or Miss, that name. So wishing responsibility is given to this method, wish method. Main is not wishing, that method is wishing and on behalf of main. Think like this. Now, how the parameters are passed, how it works, let us see. See, first the entry point of a program is main method. So inside the main method, the first thing is there is a reference S and to an object Raju, that is string object containing Raju. Then call wish method. So wish method. So once this method is called, the variables or for the parameters or local variables, it will be created. There are no local variables here, so the memory will be created. So str will be created. So what is this? Just a reference. Okay. Then from here, what is passed? S is passed into this str. S is passed into this str. So what is S? The address of Raju. So what it takes? Address of Raju. So one more Raju object will not be created. One more object will not be created. That will refer to same object that actually belongs to main method. It's an object inside main method. So that string reference is referring to the same object, not another object. So is it call by value or call by reference? This is call by reference. Yes, call by reference, because the object is not passed. The reference of an object is passed. So this is call by reference method. So this is the second method in which the reference is passed. So now let me tell you the final point. See, whenever you are sending any object as parameter, then the reference of that object is passed. The object itself is not passed. So that's why we are calling it as call by reference. I repeat the point. Whenever an object is passed as parameter, the reference to an object will be passed. Reference to an object is passed, not the object itself. Alright, so that's why we are calling it as call by reference. Then I will show you the difference between call by value and call by reference, whether there is one method or two methods. First you take this one. Now, so what was the point you have written? When an object is passed as parameter, then the reference of an object is passed, object itself is not passed. So if we give the names now, see one more thing, this we call it as actual parameter. Okay, actual parameter. and this we call it as a formal parameter. Actually, we don't require these terminology in Java, but this is the terminology from C, C++, actual parameter, formal parameter. Okay, so if actual parameter is a reference to an object, then formal parameter is also a reference, and it will refer to the same object where actual parameter is pointing. All right. So if you want to elaborate using these terms, you can elaborate it. So wherever the actual parameter is pointing, then formal parameter will also point on the same object. It will not create a new object. So you can add this sentence. Now let us see whether there are two methods or just one method in Java. Let us check. Just now we took one example where we were having variables x and y. Recall this one. And we were having this a and b and c, three variables here. 10, 15 and 10 were there. So 15 was copied here, 10 was copied here. So we were saying that the value inside this variable is given to this, the value inside this variable is given to this. So this is called by value. But here we are saying that the reference to this object is given to that one. So we say this is called by reference. But let us check. See, this reference is nothing but a pointer to this object, right? Now, pointer to this object, so assume that the address of this object in memory is 2000. So what is there here? Address 2000. So what is copied here in this one? 2000. They both are pointing on the same object. Look at this. What is copied from here to here? 15. 15 was there, 15 is copied. 2000 was there, 2000 is copied. So whatever the value inside this one, the same value is given. Is it called by value or not? Yes, this is called by value only. But this was a data, that is reference or address. This was data, so the data value was given. The address value is given. So both are called by value only. So yes, Java doesn't have the mechanisms like call by value and call by reference. It doesn't have, just parameter passing is there. Parameter passing, that's all. There is nothing like pass by value and there is nothing like pass by reference. If you are coming from C, C++, you may be interested in knowing this. So there are no different methods. There are no different methods. If you want to have that same flavor of C, C++, then if primitive data types like integer, float, double, boolean, byte, char, if these data types are there, then the value is passed. And if objects are there, then the reference of that object is passed. Yes, this is a reference. This is not the data. This is the address. Reference. Reference is passed. So in this way, you can say call by value, call by references. There you can say if you want. Okay, for your satisfaction. But basically, there are no methods at all. In Java, primitives are passed by sending the value, right? And objects are passed by sending the reference. That's it. Objects are passed by sending a reference. Got it? So this is the difference between these two methods. So by default, automatically in Java, objects are passed by reference. A new object will not be created here. New object will not be created. That reference will point on the same object. That is the only thing. Alright. But here integer 15 was there, so new integer 15 was created. But here one reference was there, one new reference is created. So it's same thing only. But indirectly they are pointing on the same object, so that's why we are calling it as reference. So now what the point you will note down. So you will say that there are no different methods like call by. Have you finished with this one? That is call by reference. You have already taken this one. So you can write down the point that in Java there is only one method of parameter passing. In Java there is only one method of parameter passing. If the parameters are primitive types, then the values are passed. If the parameters are primitive types, then values are passed. If the parameters are reference type, then the reference is passed. Then the reference is passed. The actual object is not created again as formal parameter. The actual object is not created again as formal parameter. It's not that again it will create one object called Raju and this is pointing there. No, this will not happen. It will point on this one only. This will not happen. So if objects are passed as parameter, then the reference of an object is passed. A new object is not created for formal parameters. That's it. So there is nothing like pass by value, there is nothing like pass by reference, just parameter passing. You say it as parameter passing. Alright? So don't cut off what you wrote. Now this one you box it up, okay, put it in a box, highlight it. So this is the important point. This is the more important point in technical interviews and all. They will confuse you with this one if they are just, it's an oral interview, technical interview, they will confuse you with this one. Alright, so you can debate on this one. So you can say, no, this is call by reference, it's there. But in books, you will not find two methods. Books, final answer is, final judgment is, books doesn't have two methods. You take any Java book, it will not say that there are two methods. Alright, so but if you want, you can say there are two methods. So two methods are there or not there, there's an argument. Because here you can confuse. See, reference is passed now, it's called by reference. No, reference is also a variable. It's having some address. So the address is passed. So address is also like data. You think it like data or value. So like 15 is passed. There 2000 is passed. So be clear with this one. So I have explained you there are two methods. Then I said there are no methods. So keep it like this only. So you have taken this point. Now let us remove this one. Now next, we have studied few points, right? Now we will take just one example. A method for finding the sum of all the elements in an array. We'll write one method for finding the sum of all the elements in an array, sum. Then it will take integer type array. Then return sum, that is integer. Static, oh, I just right. Once again, I forgot writing static. Static int sum int a. It will take an array. So how the arrays are passed to a method? This is a formal parameter, just a reference of type array. Then I will write down the logic here for finding sum. I will take s assign 0 and using for each loop int x belonging to a, then sum assign sum plus x, and this is inside bracket, then return, oh, I have taken a variable name as s, so s assign s plus x, and then after that say return x. So what this will do, it is having some variable s which is 0 and it is adding every element in s and finally returning s, so we get the sum of all the elements in an array, right? And I have used for each loop, this x will take all the values that are there in a. Now let us write a main method. Public static void main method. Now here I will call that method. So I will take one array, integer. I will take same name only and the values are 2, 5, 9, 7, 6, 8. Then I will call that method. So system.out.println, I will call sum by passing this a. That's it. Directly whatever the result comes, it will be displayed. So this array is passed to this one. All right, it will find the sum, return the sum, then that result will come here at this place. Then system.out.println, it will print the sum, whatever the total you will get here. This is how arrays are passed. So I have an array and I am sending A. So this is taking a reference. Now let us look at this diagrammatically. See, inside main method we have A as a reference to an array having values 259, 7, 6, 8. Then to sum we are passing this one. To sum we are passing this one. So sum is also having a reference with same name. Yes, you can have same name. This A belongs to main, that A belongs to sum, and they have different contexts. They have different means their own memory area, right? It will not access this one and this will not access that one. So that's its own A. Then what we pass from here, A, is it a reference? Yes, A is a reference to an array object. In Java, every array is an object. So it's an object. So it's a reference to that one. So what is passed here? The address of array is given to this. So this will also point on this one. Same thing. Alright. So this is how array is passed. So take this one, passing an array as parameter. So arrays are passed by sending their reference, right? By sending their reference. So new array will not be created here when this method is working. See, imagine like this. I am main. I am having one array here. I am having one array here with some 5, 10 elements. And you are sum. I ask you, can you find the total of all these elements? Okay, sum of all these elements. So, will you copy all these elements at your place and then you find the sum, or shall I ask you to come here and add all these? I should ask you to come here and add all these. Alright, got it. Now I have some books in my almara, in my shelf. I have some books. I want to count them. Shall I send all these books to your home to count it? Or I should ask you to come and count them? I should ask you to come and count them. So sum is coming here from A, using A, it's coming here and finding sum. So when you have collection, we will not send the collection. One or two values we will send. So this is by reference only. Okay? Because the objects are of type of reference. Arrays are of type object, so its reference is passed. So take this one. Passing array as parameter. Next, one more method. System.out.println, call this method sum and say new int array flower brackets 259,768 close flower brackets, close this bracket, and see, one bracket should be closed. Yes, one more bracket. I am calling some method and the parameter it takes is an array. So in the parameter only I am creating an array and sending it. in my main method, I don't need that array. I just wanted to give it to sum to find out the sum. And I will display the sum result over. After that, I don't need the array. So as a parameter only, you create an array and send it. Then where is a reference to this one? See, this is the syntax for creating an array, right? So initializing. So without reference, this is the method. I have not taken any reference. So who is pointing to this array? Nobody. And that array belongs to whom? To main only, because this is inside main. It belongs to main, but main is not having any reference. Then who is supposed to have that sum method? So sum method is taking this reference A to this one. This reference is passed automatically, so it will point onto that one and it will find the sum. That's all. Work is over. So if you want to create anonymous array, this is anonymous array, nameless array without any name. So if you want, you can create nameless array also. Where it is useful, in parameter passings it is useful. Nameless. Let that function work and return the result. Here we don't want that array. We are creating it only for that. We are creating it only for that method. So let the method take it. So this is nameless array and anonymous array. So take this one. This is important. This is important in interview questions, right? Anonymous array. In parameter passing it is possible. Otherwise, I cannot simply write here new int and some values here. I cannot write like this. Where is the reference? I must have a reference, right? So it cannot be done like this. Integer type array, these are the elements. New, in heap, it is created and it is sent. Now next. Again, I will come back to same array and 259768. Then system.out.println, I will call sum by passing a. Now I want to show you one more thing here. A. Now this sum. This sum method. Okay, the same method. Now here, if I say for int x from a x plus plus. So it's not finding sum, though the name is sum. Just I don't want to write any other method. Let it be same method I am modifying. It's incrementing every x. It's incrementing x. So which values will be incremented? Are there any separate values here? New array is created? No. Then which values will be incremented? Same values will be incremented. Yes, because there is only one object where this A is also referring there, that A is also referring there. So those objects will be incremented. Alright. So I'll just change the name of this method. Then I will call it as inc all, means increment all. Chalo, increment all. INC all, increment all. So all will change 3, 6, 10, 8, 7 and 9. This will modify that entire array and not returning anything. So let us call it as void. So the point here is if a method is modifying an object, which is taken in parameter, then it will modify the actual object. So this is the point. When object is sent as a parameter and if the method is modifying the object, then the actual object will be modified. And here inside main method, if you display for int x belongs to a and system.out.println x, then what values you get? 3, 6, 10, 8, 7, 9. These are the values you will get. So I'll repeat the point once again. If object is passed as parameter and the method is modifying the object, then the actual object will be modified. That's the point. That's why we were saying that it is called by reference, because in C++, if a function can modify actual parameters, then it is called by reference or address in C++. That's why in Java also same thing is happening. It is modifying actual objects, so we call it as call by reference, right? It looks similar for us, then we say call by reference. Actually, there is nothing like that. Here also the value is passed to that one. That's why there is no parameter passing method, we said. Okay, already we have finished with that discussion. So you can take this one. Now next. Now we are learning a new thing. Just listen. This is taking integer array. Okay. So instead of this, I can write dot 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 a also. This is introduced in Java 1.5 and it is called as var arg variant arguments dot 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 before the variable name. That is nothing but same as just now what was there. I will write here. Okay, same as integer a, this bracket, same as this one. It is same as this one. Yes, it's variable length argument. It's variable length arguments means array of values. So that was also better now. Writing integer a array. Yes, it is same. Then what is the benefit of writing it dot dot dot? Why can't we use the same old method? We can write dot dot dot, that is variable length argument. You can send any number of argument there and those arguments will be taken in an array. It will be taken in an array. So that make changes in parameter passing. When you pass the parameter, the meaning is different. All right. So in parameter passing, it means different. See here. Okay. Now it means we were writing public static void main and string arg bracket. So it means, can we write like this, public static void main string dot 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 arg? Yes, we can write like this also. These are called as variable arguments. Variable arguments. Now same thing works. What all we have done here, same thing works. So instead of writing this one, you can also write like this, int dot 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 a. You can write like this also. So this feature is introduced in Java 1.5 onwards. So take this variable arg. So the topic is variable arguments. So method can take variable arguments. So that is dot dot dot. It is nothing but array of arguments only, and all must be of same type, integer type only, right? They cannot be of different type. So integer type. So from here we are passing an array. From here we are passing an array. So what we have done just now, as it is same program, only the difference is instead of this one we have written this. Okay, I'll remove this one. So it means main method can also be written like this now. So String arguments of array. So string arguments of type array. Now let me show you the difference. I will write on a method static int sum integer dot a. So this takes array, right? It will find the sum of all the elements. Then integer s assign 0 for each x in a. Add that x to sum and return sum. This is sum method again. Sum of all the elements, all integer elements in an array. Now look at this. Public static void main string args, then system.out.println call func method sum by sending 10, 5, 2. Will it work? How many arguments I am passing? 3 arguments. So how many integers must be there? 3 integers. Is it an array? No, I am passing 3 arguments. Will it work? Yes. Automatically this will be converted into an array, that is a 10 and 5 and 2, and this a will be referring to this one. So if you send multiple arguments, actually it is not taking 3 arguments, it is taking variable variable argument. So that is var arg. So when you pass 3 parameters, so that will form like an array, and this a will be accessing it just like an array. So it means, can I say system.out.println sum 10, 5, 2, 9, 7, 6. How many arguments I am passing? Right, 6 arguments I am passing. Yes, same method works. Same method works. Alright. Is it possible that I write system.out.println sum just 3? Yes, same method works. It will take single argument also. Then system.out.println, can I say sum and a new, I will create an array. These are not arrays. I will create an array now with 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. Will it work? Yes. It will take this array also. All are valid. You can send all these things. Now I will write one more. Can I say system.out.println sum 3.5 and 7.2? No, you cannot. Floats you cannot send. You have to send only integers. You can send one argument or n number of arguments, and even you can send array, right? This is called as